Hey guys, the boys are back in town. Training camp has begun. That means the off season is over. Packer football is back. St. Norbert's is full. And I know you're stoked, just like I am. This is the Out of Breath Arm Store Packer Minute, the show where I walk around the neighborhood talking about the Packers, and you watch to see if I get Captain Jack Sparrowed by a LeSabre. And I couldn't be happier right now. The off season finally over. It kind of felt like it when the Hall of Fame induction banquet closed. And of course, the owners' meeting, the only one in the NFL, takes place. The only one that is filled up with fans, anyway. But now we have Coach McCarthy talking about his team. He's excited. He's very confident. He says there's a lot of energy in that on this team. There's a lot of athleticism, we know. He's very happy with the athleticism of this team. And now it's time to go ahead, get out on the field, and get some things done in terms of installing and reinstalling all the concepts, all of the installs. I think they have 8 of them or so. And seeing, and Coach McCarthy made this clear, seeing which of these young players have their stuff together, which ones have it figured out, because he said the teaching period is over when training camp begins. That's for the OTAs, that's for minicamp. Now it's time for these guys to get out on the field and employ the skills and the concepts that they've been taught and go out and play some football. Now it'll be shells for a few days, but this is the period where, you know, these guys get to begin to come together as a team. And I like what Coach McCarthy said. He said, your program will, I've always said it's your system that'll make or break you. And it was interesting to hear Coach McCarthy sort of reflect that, because he said, you know, it's a great program that will bring you success time and time again. And if there's one thing that is absolutely true about the Green Bay Packers since McCarthy has been there, is that they have had perennial success. They've been in the playoffs 8 years running. This will be year 9. This is tied for a record now, and Coach McCarthy at the helm of that. So while there are some concerns about an offense that at times seems to take their foot off the gas, Coach McCarthy has every reason to be confident in his ability as a coach. We've got Aaron Rodgers still. We're bringing back, in particular on the offense, we have very few question marks at very few positions. So this is basically a team that in the offensive perspective is just going to have to go ahead, get in sync, get out on the field, get things together, and get the job done. Get a lot of points put up on the board. You got your Jordy Nelson, you got your Devontae Adams coming back with now Martellus Bennett, Lance Kendricks, along with Richard Rodgers. And this is an offense that's locked and loaded. We've talked about this a lot in the offseason. But now is the time we actually get to see Aaron Rodgers start to get in sync with Martellus Bennett. Get this train sort of rolling out of the station. The other thing I love about training camp is it's sort of, once training camp begins, like everything just happens so fast. It's almost August, folks. Do you realize that is almost August? We are practically to the preseason here in just a few short weeks. And we'll get a chance to see guys like Kevin King. Possibly in that time frame, guys like Vince Beagle that we have not heard anything about, seen anything of since his surgery. And that's super exciting for a Packers fan base that wants to see this team get over the hump. We've been perennial playoff contenders. There's always been this sort of grit in the craw of Packer Nation that, you know, we've got Aaron Rodgers. He made it in 2010, or after the 2010 season for Super Bowl 45, was able to win that against the Steelers, a team that a lot of people thought would beat the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers beat the Steelers without Charles Woodson. I think we were missing Donald Driver and Sam Shields during that game as well, and being a team with about 15 players on injured reserve that year. So if we can stay healthy, the sky's the limit, I think, for this team, in particular the offense. Now, I do think on the defensive side of the ball, we have some question marks that are going to have to be addressed. I think they have been addressed in the offseason, but training camp is the time to begin squaring away guys like Kevin King, getting him out on the field, getting his reps in, helping him understand Dom Capers' defense in its practical sense. One of the things that has been a bugaboo, everybody talks about how the defensive backfield's been a bugaboo in Dom Capers' defense in particular last year. But within that, what we really have oftentimes, we saw this with Nick Collins. We saw Charles Woodson get on Nick Collins early in Nick Collins' career because the communication wasn't there. The splits were not quite perfect. And especially, in that zone coverage scheme that we oftentimes get ourselves into, we play some soft zone. Your splits have to be correct. You can't leave soft spots. And young players tend to do that. So we're gonna keep an eye on Kevin King. We're gonna keep an eye on Josh Jones. Josh Jones being one of the most intriguing characters on this Packers defense as far as I'm concerned. How are the Packers coaching staff going to use Josh Jones? He's lockered up with the linebackers. And is that because the coaching staff really believes in Josh Jones that he can fill maybe an inside linebacker position? A hybrid position, I think, is what in the end is going to be, but they're going to have to make some decisions in terms of what reps he's going to get at what positions. Safety position, the inside linebacker position, how he's going to play safety, who he's going to play with at inside linebacker if he takes some reps there. Do they put him on the outside? It's hard to say. Josh Jones, though, 6'3", 6'1", almost 6'2", 6'1" and 5/8. 220 pounds, though, but blazing fast. Now, 4.4 speed. Packers clocked him in at the high 4.3s. This is a guy that you can expect Dom Capers and the Packers coaching staff to be very excited about and to plan to use, to utilize on the field. And again, training camp is for exactly that, to throw him in the flames and see how he performs and what kind of a role he can fulfill once the regular season rolls around, which is coming very quickly. So Josh Jones is going to have his work cut out for him. Another guy I'm super excited about is Kevin King, and I said this morning once again, I think Kevin King and his development may be the linchpin for the Packers defense this year. If we can get one guy, we brought in Devon House, so he can presumably man up on at least a number 2 if King comes in and can either take a number 2, take perhaps a number 1 by the time all is said and done. Maybe a Julio Jones. I mean, he's got a lot better physicals than Ladarius Gunter. And Ladarius Gunter, with our coaching staff, was able to get out on the field and perform from time to time. I'm not saying he did a great job. But between Devon House and Kevin King, there's got to be a lot of positivity about what our Packers defensive backfield can do, because then you add Josh Jones into that mix, and you got a lot of versatility there with that. Plus, we've got a great safety tandem already in Morgan Burnett and Clinton Dix. So, offense-wise, this is a team that we're basically just looking to have them sort of paint around the edges, make sure everything is perfect. Jari Evans works into the system. Martellus Bennett works into the system. And Lance Kendricks works into the system. Ty Montgomery continues to compete, continues to get better, and continues to learn the offense just at an ever deeper level. On the defense, I think there's a lot to be positive of, but there are some question marks. That's what training camp is for, guys. Well, I am at the road here. I just wanted to chat a little bit because I know you guys are stoked. I am stoked too. We'll talk more about Mike McCarthy's press conference and also all the news that comes out about training camp in future episodes of the Out of Breath Armstrong Packer Minutes. So for now, I'm going to say sayonara. I will catch up with you tomorrow. Have a great day. Go Pack.